We'll go ahead and get started.
Okay.
We'll start by bringing our attention to our posture, to how we are seated in meditation. So we keep our feet flat on the floor, our back straight, torso open, palms in the lap, right over left, hands in the lap, palms upturned, right over left, with the thumbs forming a gentle triangle against the body. Our eyes are gently closed or slightly open. And just try to scan head to toe briefly and let go of places where you're holding unnecessary tension. Try to relax into a stable, upright position, letting the body kind of hang on itself while at the same time not slouching or leaning. And try to feel as though you just don't need to send your senses out to contact the world around you. You can just hold your awareness to the body and mind itself. Starting to use the sensations that accompany the in-breath and the out-breath as a way of holding your awareness in the present. Letting go again and again of anything that arises in the mind that isn't that sensation. Breathing naturally and normally, but closely attending to whatever physical sensations arise. But thoughts of the past or the future may arise, and we just notice that that has happened, and then gently lift our attention from that distraction and place it gently back on that physical sensation again and again, trying to notice quickly and trying to elongate the periods where the mind is held on the physical sensation without distraction. And then when the mind feels more settled, then establish an altruistic motivation, thinking of the goals of your practice and how achieving those goals benefits not only oneself, but allows for oneself to be of greater benefit to others. Wanting to be able to help others more and more effectively, and seeing our spiritual life as a method for becoming skilled in that way. And so we've been looking at the steps involved in generating the wish to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, without exception. Taking those steps one by one. We saw already how that motivation can only arise in a mind with equanimity. But then the first specific step is to recognize that every sentient being has played the role of the mother in a past life, has cared for us in that kind of deep way. But the second step is then to really contemplate the depth of that kindness. So we use, in a way, the archetype of the mother as a way of understanding caregiving. But it may be that some people may feel that they need to use a different exemplar for that, and that's completely fine. But the idea, the essence, is to try to connect with that role of caregiving. So whomever we might use, the idea is that that person, for us, played that role. And in countless past lives, every sentient being has been able to play a very similar role. But in the historical teachings, it is the mother that we use for that. So it can also be important if there's hesitancy or negativity that arises in the mind. It can be very useful to try to respond to that with a sense of forgiveness. Recognizing that just like us, people that we know, our family, are ordinary beings who do make mistakes. still, though, we can connect with the kindness that was shown. For example, in order to be born, our mother did carry us in the womb for 9 months. There were times when that process was very uncomfortable, times when physically the kinds of activities that she might have enjoyed would have become more and more difficult. It may have been necessary to reduce those physical activities, to rest more. It's also most likely that she was very careful about the things that she ate or drank during that time. And try to make some examples of the hardships that were faced during pregnancy and, of course, during childbirth also. I think if she hadn't been willing to endure those hardships, then we wouldn't have been able to be born into this life. And just the fact that we can use this life to accomplish incredible spiritual goals means that that was a kindness to us. And then after we were born, we were completely helpless. We definitely would have died within just a few hours of being exposed to the elements. Our mother may have fed us from her own body. Definitely, she provided us with shelter, food, looked after us when we became ill. Most often, a mother would be willing to change places with a son or daughter that's sick or injured, if that might mean that they could be free of that suffering. Generally, our ability to read and write begins in the home with the parents. Our ability to feed ourselves, to dress ourselves, all of the basic skills that we used to be successful in school, in social interactions. These all began with the mother, the father. So try to think back in your childhood, coming up with specific examples of this kind of caregiving. And then try to connect that kind of caregiving with not just this life, but try to think that my mother in this life showed that same kind of caregiving countless times in past lives. My father in this life showed that same level of caregiving countless times in past lives. But not only that, every sentient being that I can come across has had that kind of relationship with me in countless past lives. Try to think as you go about your day today that every person that your eyes come across, total strangers, have countless times in the past shown you that level of care. Try to contemplate in that way until you have that stable sense. And then just hold your mind on that insight. And then when you're ready, we'll come back together. And then we'll dedicate. So think back to the altruistic motivation that you had and the effort that you made to actualize that motivation by becoming more familiar with the steps that generate the mind of bodhicitta. And that's the most sublime motivation that a person can have. So you think, may whatever positive energy that I've created by practicing in that way, may it serve as a principal cause and condition for me to achieve that realization, which will speed me along to my enlightenment. And that my desire for enlightenment is again based on wanting to perfectly be able to benefit sentient beings without mistake. May it ripen in whatever way will benefit sentient beings, now and up to and including their swift enlightenment, so that they may be completely free of suffering and have all beneficial, conducive conditions. May it completely pacify the hindrances facing any of our spiritual guides. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, Geshe Sherab, Venerable Rabina. May all of our guides have long, stable, happy lives, and may all of their holy wishes be instantly fulfilled. Thank you.